So what we want to talk about today is what is Mailchimp? How do we read the reports? How do we use Mailchimp? Really. So let's start by once you have an account that you've created, this is what your dashboard looks like. Okay. The first thing that we need to do is put contacts in because there's no sense in making a campaign if we don't have any contacts in there. So that's your audience. Okay. You can import an audience in a couple of different ways. First thing you can do is you can go to your manage audience and it says import contacts. So if you have like a spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet, or if you want to import your contacts from your Google contacts, you can export them from Google and you can import them in here into Mailchimp. Okay. And that's just by clicking the import contacts and then walking through the steps to do that. I'm not going to walk through how to import contacts because that's pretty self-explanatory as you walk through it. What I want to show you is you could also add a subscriber, and so you can add a subscriber individually, or there are sign-up forms, and you can use sign-up forms on your website and in your social media channels that allow people to put their information in that populates them into a list. Okay, so those are basically the three ways that you add contacts. You either manually input them one at a time, you import a database, or they manually input themselves. Okay, and then when we manage contacts, you can segment your lists. And I talked in a previous video about segmenting the list, so we're not necessarily going to go through how to do that right now. But you can view all contacts, and I will blur out names so that we can keep this anonymous in the actual recording, but you can classify. So part of the segmentation is the tag that you use. So I have mine tagged based on what they do. So like she's a health provider, she's in a nonprofit, she's in a nonprofit. So I have them listed. He's a general contractor. So I have them listed by industry here. So that way when I send an email, I can send it to a targeted list, or I can send it based on sex. So if it's male or female, I have a spot in my notes section that isn't showing me the notes in this spot for some reason, but I can look in my notes section and I have a group for female contacts. I don't have my male contacts separated out because I usually, if I'm going to send it to my whole list, I just send it to the whole list. But if I'm going to send, like I just send association stuff, or I send my women's retreat stuff, I'm not going to send it to a bunch of male contacts. I'm going to only send it to my women contacts. So I have a way to do that. It says I don't have any segments yet because I set it up, segmented out by tags. So you can create a new segment by clicking segments, and you can do it based on subscriber data. So if they have a contact rating, all of your contacts have a rating based on stars. Their stars are based on how they engage with other Mailchimp campaigns that go out. Okay. If they have 2 or less stars, they're not very responsive. If they have 3 or more stars, then they're opening most of the emails that they receive from Mailchimp. So you can do your segmentation by subscriber data. You could do it by the date that you added them. You can do it by if their information has changed. So every time you make a change to their information, the system records that. And so if it's somebody who's had information changed in the last 6 months, you can send an email just to the people who have had their information updated, right? Landing page activity is if you have a website or a landing page that you have a subscriber form on. How are they engaging with that? Language. You can even segment out if they are English or if they speak another language. Okay. Location. So again, you're within 25 miles of, and you put in a zip code or invalidate the location. If you're an organization that's doing a variety of different campaigns, so you're not just doing social media campaigns, or you're not just doing like landing page campaigns, but you're doing direct mail campaigns, you might give people the ability to subscribe from your postcard. And if you do that, then it would be your postcard subscriber list, right? Mm-hmm. And your sign up source. Is this making sense so far?
Yes.
Cool. You can also base it on these other things like different merge fields. So sex is one of the ways that you can segment, and you can tell it if you want it to be male or female. So there's a lot of ways to segment the list. Why do we segment a list? We segment a list because we are no longer living in a world where we can mass market. We are living in a world where we market to one. But we're obviously not creating custom campaigns for each individual person that we've never met before, right? Mm-hmm. What we're doing is creating customer profiles. And when you create a profile or a persona, you can segment your list based on that persona so that the content you're sending to that person is specific to that profile that they fall within, so then it feels like you're marketing just to them.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Okay. So the segments help you create those custom campaigns. Without segments, then you become a mass marketing machine, and that's one of the downfalls of some of the larger companies, is they still are in this mass marketing mindset, and they think they can mass market emails, and that's why we get bombarded with emails all the time, because they haven't taken the step to segment out their list. And I talked a little bit more and actually walked through the segmenting process in my previous email, or in my previous video about this. So I don't want to spend too much time there, but it's really important to segment out so that you can send, like I was saying before, I'm only going to send association stuff or women's retreat information to my women in my list. I'm not going to do it to the men in my list. They're not going to care. And it could alienate them. If I send too much about that, it could alienate them from wanting to work with me.
Gotcha.
Okay. So underneath our managed contacts, we've got our archive clients or contacts. These are people who are no longer active in our list. We've got the people who have unsubscribed. Any groups that you have, so your groups are going to be, you can classify them through a segment. I don't have mine set up as groups. Like I said, I have mine set up as tags. So tags work very similarly to creating a segment. You can look at your import history. So how many times have you imported a list or a client? And then any exports that exist. So I can pull up my export list and make sure that it's only me that's exported anything. If it's anybody else, or if there's an export on there that I wasn't expecting, then it's like, well, who has access to this? And what are they doing with my list?
Gotcha.
The good news is that's not really a problem when you hire the right people. And then you can also export your contacts from here too. Or you can archive all of your contacts and start over. Okay. Mailchimp is free up to 2,500 contacts, I think. It's up to 1,500 contacts. It's free, and it's up to 2,500 emails a month. So if you reach that limit of number of contacts that you have in their database, they can charge you a monthly fee. So that's kind of how you use the audience. That's all of the pieces of the audience. And we have to create our audience before we can start sending out any kind of emails. That's why I start here. What does this stuff mean? Recent growth, tags. Okay, so our recent growth is any new contacts that were added in the last 30 days. It'll show you the number of new contacts that were added if they were subscribed or if they unsubscribed from your list. Okay? Mm-hmm. You can add pop-up forms on your site, and it helps you collect up to 50% more contacts faster. You can create a landing page within your site that helps you collect contacts, and you can connect your site data that gives you a little bit more insights into what people are doing on your site to get a better read of what to market.
That's pretty interesting.
That's pretty useful, right? Now, I don't have these things turned on because I was not actively looking to market to the 1,000 people that I have in my list, everything that's going on, right? And I'm not necessarily trying to bring on 100 clients. And since I was looking at my scalability at the time that I set this up as I only need 10 active clients in a month to reach the goals that I want to reach, turning all of this on is going to get me way too much, and I'm not going to be able to handle it. As I begin to shift my company, though, into being something that's more product-driven and less service-driven, these things come in handy because I want more people I can have in my list that I can market my product to, the better it is for me. right?
Right.
So those are things that I'll end up turning on eventually. When we look at our tags, this is all about how we are marketing and see how you can target with a campaign.
Mhm.
So I can launch a whole new campaign for people in the marketing world. Okay. But each tag, this breaks out how many people I have in those tags, and you can view all of your tags there. So that's just a really quick and easy way to segment. I only want to send an email to my general contractors or my builders. I could just come in here and send an email just to them. And it's quick and easy.
Do you prefer tags over segments?
I do, because they do the same thing, but tags are just easier to set up when you're on your import versus having to go back and do the segmentation after the import's complete. You can do tags as you're importing. So it's just easier. You can have that information stored in your file and it's good to go. Yeah. So that's why I like tags better, but either way, it does the same job. When we're looking at our engagement is people who are doing something with our email. Mm-hmm. That's all engagement really means. It's the same as social media. If somebody is reacting to your post, they're engaging with it. They're not just scrolling past it. If somebody opens your email, that's one form of engagement. If somebody clicks on something in your email, that's another form of engagement. So there's multiple levels of engagement inside of an email. Here are our top locations. So where are people opening from? It makes sense that Winston-Salem is top because that's where I'm located. So 90% of my database is from Winston-Salem. The rest is from Greensboro and Charlotte. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yes, these locations are accurate. All right. So when we're looking at our email marketing engagement, what we see here are these percentages. Okay, so this is the percentage of subscribers who are highly engaged and often open or click in my emails. So they're taking some kind of action. Part of this is because I really, other than sending an email once in a while, first of all, I'm not consistent with sending my emails. That would change this rate if I was more consistent with it. The second thing that would change that rate is if I kept in communication with them in other ways outside of email. Right, that would change their open rate. The percentage of my subscribers who will open it sometimes, right, and will click on it sometimes. And then the percentage of my subscribers who really aren't engaged with my stuff at all. Okay? Mm-hmm. What you find when you're generating an audience through a subscription form is your rarely is going to be way high, right? Right. Versus if they know you personally, this is going to be way higher. Your often is going to jump up and your rarely will be lower. Okay. For me, what's happened with this list is it's an old database. So emails are filtering off every time I send an email because they've changed companies. They're not with that organization anymore. We don't have any other communication outside of that email. The email's only going out once a quarter instead of once a month. So all of those reasons are going to play a role in how often somebody engages with your email. That's why I tell companies, if you're going to do an email marketing campaign, it's the same concept of your content for your website. You want to do it more frequently than once a month, less frequently than once a day. Somewhere in the middle. Yeah. Because if you do it every day, mm-hmm. you're going to have a lot of unsubscribes. Yeah. Because people are going to be like, holy crap, dude, leave me alone.
Yeah. And that's how you get an overfilled inbox.
That's how you get an overfilled inbox. Exactly. And if we think about, there are several people who I've followed for years, like John Maxwell or Seth Godin, and they send out an email every day. Oh, wow. Every time they do a blog post. Minute with Maxwell is a daily subscription. Every time Seth does a blog post, and he blogs every single day, he's never missed a day, it hits your inbox. And the problem is you hit the end of the week when you're checking your newsletters folder and you have 100 emails in there and you're like, what the hell happened? And it's because they've hit you every single day. So every day is too often, but less than once a month is too infrequent. Gotcha. There is a sweet spot in there. And organizations that have found the sweet spot, actually it's based on the number of days in between. And so the number of days needs to vary. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it's 7 days. other times it's 5 days, and it varies between those days. So how you set it up is, if I send you an email today, I'm not going to send you another one for another 3 days.
Yeah.
Then you'll get something else from me. Now I'm not going to send you another one for 7 days. Then you get something else from me. So what ends up happening when we do that, the email lands in your inbox on a different day every time. So you're much more likely to open it because it's a different day every time. And because I varied up the when you get it, you're more likely to open it because it doesn't feel like you just got something from me yesterday.
Right.
But it feels like I probably should get something from you again.
Yeah.
And so even as a marketing consultant myself, I don't do this. I don't do this for myself. But when I'm working with clients, that's one of the things I coach them on is if we're going to do an email campaign, we need to know what we want it to do.
Right.
What's the point?
That's interesting because I have noticed that myself because that was one thing. I have a couple questions about email marketing in general. And that was one thing I was thinking about was, if you forget to, you're less likely to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially if you're adding value.
Mm-hmm.
If in the email it's not just a sales pitch,
mm-hmm.
but you're inviting them to something, you're giving them information about their industry that's useful for them, you're providing them a useful tool, you're providing them something that they can apply inside their business, there's a reason for them to open it, there's something they can engage with, and because you've helped them, they're more likely to open another one. But you can't have every email be a help you email.
Right.
There has to be a balance of how often am I going to help you versus how often am I going to sell to you. Okay. The companies that do nothing but sales emails, they get a ton of unsubscribes all the time. Why? Nobody wants to be sold to all the time.
Right.
Right? There has to be added value. So that's going to change this frequency of engagement as well. So your frequency of how often you send, the quality of what you're sending, and how you're engaging with them outside of the emails are all going to be what affects this percentage of engagement in terms of the often. You want this to be high. Mine's really low. You want it to be high. I want this to be opposite of what it is, actually. I would rather have 70% up here and 1% down here. And it used to be. It's just over the years, I've not done much with my list other than zip them an email once in a blue moon. So my numbers are sad. We're going to work on that. So that's kind of what those numbers are telling us. Let's get into some of the reports, though. Okay. So this is going to tell me I have a big goose egg because I've never really set up my data up here. But the data is here. If we scroll down just a little bit further, we can look at what's happening on each individual email. Okay. So I sent this email out yesterday afternoon. First of all, in history, Monday afternoons are a terrible time to send an email. Holiday Mondays are even worse time to send an email. Don't do it. As we can see, we had a 21% open rate and a 9% click-through rate. I will say, in fairness, in the industry, 21% open rate is significant. The industry average is somewhere around 13%. Mm-hmm. The industry average on the click-through rate is 0.5%.
Oh, wow.
So this is still, even though it was a Monday afternoon on a holiday, this is still a higher than average open and click-through rate than some people experience. So what does this mean? This subscribers is the number of people who received this email. The opens are the number of people of the subscribers that actually opened the email. And the clicks are the number of people who opened the email that actually clicked on the video that I had in the email. Because I actually had a video in the email. Or clicked on the RSVP button. Okay? You can view a more detailed report about that particular email here. And it's going to tell you what they clicked on. So the industry average, 1.1%. List average is 3.3% for your click-through rate. Your open rate, list average is 24%. Industry average is 12% in this particular list. Okay?
Mm-hmm. And what's the difference on those? Oh, then okay, I see. Open rate, click rate.
Yep, so that's the open rate and that's the click rate. So that's the difference between those. So then this is how you stacked up in comparison to both of those components. Okay? Mm-hmm. This can track your orders too. So if I was selling something, it could track what I was selling. Right?
Right.
It's tracked the open and click You see what I mean? We had 119 bounce. There's a couple of different types of bounce, but bounce means it wasn't delivered for one reason or another. Okay. And then I had 9 unsubscribed. So 9 people decided they don't need the information anymore, or they're not interested, which is fine. I would rather them remove themselves from my list than continue to invest time in a relationship that's not valuable. They can go away. That just makes room for more people to engage. So 90% of them were successful deliveries. 323 of them opened it. The last time it was opened was 1 o'clock this afternoon. So literally 10 minutes ago. So people are still opening it, which is great. The last time somebody clicked was at 12 o'clock this morning. Well, 11:40 this morning. Okay. It's not bad. So this tracks your 24-hour performance, your opens and your clicks, okay? So from the time it dropped in the inbox, in that first hour, you will always notice this. In that first hour, that's where 90% of your clicks are going to come in, is that first hour. So there's the first total hour. It's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So that's 67 opens in the first 2 hours. And then it dwindles down from there. Okay. But this just graphically showcases the numbers up here that we already know. Okay. And then it tells you what was clicked, right? And it tells you who opened them the most often. And you can look at each individual email that you sent out. So this one just went to my media contacts, so it only went to 24 subscribers. Okay. So of the 24 subscribers, 4 opened. Of the 25 subscribers, 5 opened. This was sent on a Saturday morning though. Right. This was another one to the media contacts. We had a 40% open rate when it was a Monday. And then when I sent to just my women, I had a 30% open rate. That helps bring my list average up. Now, you can look at comparative data, and the comparative data you have to upgrade to be a pro user in order to get. Your automation data is your drip campaigns. So I set up last year an automated drip campaign just to play with it. Okay.
No.
So a drip campaign is like we were talking about earlier, where you have different time periods between each email that goes out. When you're doing a newsletter, that doesn't make as much sense. When you're doing a sales campaign where you're trying to drive traffic for a specific service, that makes more sense. As an example, one of my target audiences is doctors. Okay, so I have a list of doctors that I've put in here. I've now since deleted the list, since why it says deleted, so that's why I can't tell you how many people are subscribed, because it's nobody
That makes sense.
at the moment. So what happens is when you set up an automation, you can tell it which list or which segment of your list you want to populate into this email system.
Gotcha.
A good example of this might be somebody is signed up into your newsletter from their website. Okay, they're on your website. They decided to sign up into your email campaign from the website. What's the first thing that's going to happen? They're going to receive an email. Within 24 hours of signing up, they're going to receive an email from you welcoming you to the newsletter, to the email system. And it's your promise to them. That's all that's going to be in there, is the promise to them of how frequently you're going to send them stuff, what's going to be contained in those emails, setting up their expectations kind of. The next email then you schedule out. So this is a drip system that I've set up 8 different campaigns. Okay. The way that it works is I'm not going to send to the next person if they didn't open, or I'm not going to send to the next one on the list if they didn't open the first one. So the first one had 13 opens out of 56 sends. So of the 13 that opened, I sent 12 because one of them that opened apparently unsubscribed. So I sent 12 in the next email. And I had this filter. See, first day after they were subscribed, 3 days after they were subscribed, 5 days after they opened the last email, 9 days after they open the last email. So I'm filtering through how many days after. And then I kept it at 12 days after. And one person came all the way through. This person unsubscribed at this one. I did follow up with the person that came all the way through and asked them what they were thinking of it, and they liked the information that they were receiving, but it was the marketing department that was getting it. So it was helping them be more effective at their job. Great, not what I'm trying to do.
Right.
I'm a marketing person. I want to work with somebody who doesn't have a marketing department. Right. I want them to be aware of the information, but I want them to need me. And so when I discovered it was a marketing person who was just using it to look good to their boss, I was like, and that's not the point of this system, so fail. Need to go back to the drawing board on it. But that's kind of what you think about when you're putting together a automated drip campaign. You want to think about what's the purpose of this campaign. Who is it going to? So that we can make sure it's highly targeted content that's relevant to them, right?
Right.
So each one of these has information that's relevant. I know it just says automated email, so it's hard to know what's in there. But this first one is that promise. So you can set up as many automated emails as you want under the automation system here. I think you actually click here for create, and you tell it you want to create an email, and then you can tell it automated, and that's how you set up. Gotcha. And you can coordinate triggers, so you can do birthday ones. You can plug in an API key so that way it automatically sends birthday wishes based off of your content that's in your database, that kind of thing. You're welcome new subscribers, you introduce yourself, and then it goes into a whole bunch of, this one is triggers, so the one I set up was triggers. They're triggered when certain things happen. So it's just creating a campaign, right? Mm-hmm. And then your landing pages, this allows you to create a landing page that you can host on your own site. Okay.
That's pretty neat.
I haven't used their landing page tool because I build my own landing pages on my website, but it's cool that they're pretty robust system for a free system.
Yeah.
To be able to use. So that's kind of how you read the reports. We can go back to the campaigns and create a new campaign, and I can walk you through how we do that. If we click on campaigns and click create a campaign, see there are a variety of campaigns we can do. There's social posting. Mailchimp allows you to do posting through and they track everything going on. You can send postcards through Mailchimp and they track everything going on. You can get your sign up form that you plug into your website to collect new subscribers from in here, and then you can also create that landing page, or we can create an ad. So I've done an ad through here for Facebook and Instagram before. It's not challenging, but I don't know why you would use this system for creating an ad and not just use Facebook ads to create an ad, other than you're just trying to collect all the data in one place. But because of the tools that they have, trying to find where I was yesterday. There it is, under integrations. So you can integrate your Facebook, your Twitter, you can integrate your SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey is an automation system that allows you to create custom surveys that are anonymous surveys. So you can send out surveys to your clients to get feedback. So particularly helpful for larger organizations trying to get a pulse on what's going on within their organization. Yeah. But see, you can plug your Google Analytics in here. And you can plug, like if you use a CRM system like Zoho, you can plug Zoho in here. They have a variety of different CRM systems. So there's a variety of different places you can plug in for your automated systems, and you can track everything that's going on inside of here, inside of your reports. You can pull all of your data into here, which gives you more detailed reports, much like Google Analytics provides you all sorts of user insights. So you can view the campaigns that you've done by type or by status, where you can create folders so you can sort them, because otherwise that gets daunting to try and look through.
Yeah.
And then you can either click this create button or this create button. It doesn't matter which one you do because it's going to both take you to this page here, right? So you can create a new email and you give your campaign a name. It could be an automated email. It could be a plain text email, although I will say not as fun. No images, no fancy styling. It's just as if you sent a regular email. Okay.
Now, who would you want to actually send that to?
So that's a good question. When you do a plain text email, because it looks like a regular email, there are no fancy thrills to it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks more like I did a custom personalized email to you.
Okay.
And not that you're part of a massive campaign. So you're more likely to open it and engage with it.
Gotcha.
So you find, like, Dean Graziosi's emails are all plain text emails.
Really?
All of them are plain text. Who else does it? There are a lot of, like, the bigger brands that are doing plain text emails now. So, in fact, let's play with that.
That's surprising because you would think pictures get people's attention.
Yep, but when you're sending an email to somebody who's in your database
Mm-hmm.
and you're just sending them a regular email, do you always include a picture?
No, never.
Do you still engage with the email if you don't get an email that has a picture, that doesn't have a picture in it?
I am more inclined to engage with an email. That makes it look more personal. So, yeah.
See? That's why people do it. That's why people do it. So we can do entire audience. We can do a segment or a tag. So this is where you can select your tags, right? Or you can do a group or a new segment. And you can say by specific groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for.
There you go.
So F stands for female, but just to be specific. Okay, so this is internal use only. Let's play. I'm gonna spell that out actually. Testing plain text email. Email subject. Coming soon. What do we want the preview text to be? So the email we're going to create is an announcement that we're getting ready to launch. It's not launching yet. We're getting ready to launch the Women's Retreat.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you can't track opens or clicks on plain text email. Interesting. Oh, you can plain text clicks. Gotcha. Okay.
So that's the
There is no e-commerce. We don't need to track that. We can't track in Salesforce because I don't have that. We can track in Google Analytics. That's pretty cool. You'll see this in Google Analytics. Okay. Pre-launch Women's Retreat. Can't spell retreat either, apparently. There we go. This is why I'm not the writer. Just saying. No, we're good there. So, these other options down here, if you want to have a post go out to your Facebook page, you can tell it to post to Facebook after you've sent the email. A lot of people do that when they're doing newsletters. That makes a lot of sense. Doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense for me on this one because I did just do a post yesterday kind of announcing it, so I don't want to bombard my social media page with the same information, so I'm not going to click that.
Now, will it show only for people that are subscribed and females, or will it show everybody on your Facebook?
So it would show everybody on my Facebook.
Gotcha.
If I click that.
Gotcha. And the same thing with Twitter, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the social media doesn't allow you to sort that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's probably good to know.
Yeah, because it's not going to be going out as like a Facebook Messenger or a Twitter message. It's going out as a post on the page. Good question. And then auto convert video will scan your content for embedded videos. This is if you have a video plugged in, which in this particular email, I'm not going to have a video plugged in. But if we did, then it would be nice for them to convert into an email-friendly video. For sure. Wow. Yeah, that really is plain text, isn't it? Okay. Enter your content here. Okay. What happens next? We've already got it selected. See, it worked. Yay. That's exciting. Fantastic. That's how segmentation works.
That's pretty cool.
The subject line is coming soon. Sneak peek retreat weekend at Biltmore. Oh, I probably shouldn't say that in there. Sneak peek retreat weekend for you.
There you go. You know, somebody's looking at their email like, oh, I need to get away.
Mm-hmm. Replies to me, tracking when they click. Yes. Cool. So, tomorrow's Wednesday morning. We're going to drop it in the inbox Wednesday morning. Let's do it at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. is a good time. Not doing it.
So, this kind of, oh, I love that they do that.
Rock on! Your email sent, man!
So, if you are creating, like, say, bigger companies, or not even bigger companies, but like companies just in general, if you want to send out emails, like for email marketing, do you have to basically craft an email each and every time?
Well, ideally, your marketing director is working on crafting all the emails for you. So then all you have to do is populate which one you want to use and send it.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
Most of the time, companies don't have that. So then, yes, they have to create the email,
Right.
which then leads you to the question of, so how are you following up with that?
What do you choose to write about?
What do you choose to write about? How often do you send it? Who are you sending it to?
Right.
What are you following up with?
Gotcha.
So you have to work through all of that. A marketing director is going to work through all of that with you. If you don't have a marketing director, you have to do that yourself.
Gotcha.
That's the gist of how you use Mailchimp, though, and how you read the reports, and how you schedule an email going out, and how you create an email as a test.